So today's topic is IBS with diarrhea, IBS-D for short. Not the most fun of subjects, and especially for people that live with it. I think actually that IBS-D is the worst of IBS symptoms I've come across. They all can be really limiting and confining and difficult. IBS-D is very explosive. It's also very chaotic because you never know when it's going to come. So let's see today what we can find as a start of a solution. So I'm Alison Adenis, a former IBS sufferer, a former IBS-D sufferer in part, and now I'm an IBS recovery coach helping other people, especially IBS-D sufferers, release their IBS symptoms completely. So what are traditional treatments for IBS-D? Well, the main ones are being careful what you eat. I see a lot of people who are very scared to eat, which is very unfortunate. So many people go on gluten-free diets, fructose-free diets, lactose-free or dairy-free diets in an attempt to try and control their symptoms and to just feel better and to live better. So that is the traditional treatment plus Imodium. So if that's working for you, great, but many people get to a stage where they don't know what to eat and they find that the Imodium, where it worked before, stops working. I bring into question the traditional treatment for IBS-D quite simply because when I very first had IBS, my very first symptom was diarrhea and I could not digest anything. And what kept me going the most was warm milk with semolina. Warm milk, so dairy, and a semolina, gluten. So I was not eating dairy-free or gluten-free. That was the only thing that my body seemed to manage at the time. And I was living on that for weeks and weeks. Luckily, when I moved out of the situation, I was able to let go of my symptoms, but they lasted for several months even so. So I'm not entirely sure about this, what you eat, because I moved out of the situation that was causing me some grief, apparently, and the IBS-D stopped. Anyway, IBS continued, but the diarrhea part stopped. It helped me ask the question, well, if it's not about gluten, if it's not about dairy, what is it about? And I started researching from there. Now, many of my clients that come to me have IBS-D. Sometimes they have diarrhea from time to time. Sometimes it's very regular, and sometimes it is daily. I had one lady who was woken up with diarrhea every single morning of her life since she was 4. So that was really something that she had difficulty dealing with because she would wake up with it, have to run. And, this was every single day, even weekends included. And I was very sad to see her having to live like this. And I was sure we could find a better way. The people I work with have often had things like abuse, narcissistic parents or a narcissistic parent, grief, the loss of a parent, things like this. So they have been living with the diarrhea often for a very long time. Sometimes it can be triggered by something recent, but for a lot of people, it's been there or been in the background for a long time. I get a real kick out of it when I see clients that come to me, like the lady who couldn't eat anything gluten or lactose, going and having a hamburger with full gluten and actually really enjoying it. So it is possible to turn this round, but to do this, you have to know the deeper triggers. Patterns of IBS can also, especially IBS-D, can run in a family. I have seen cases where, the parents, one of the parents has had it, even the grandparents, and this person has the impress in it, it's passed on in the genes. And while I would argue that's not necessarily the case, I would say that a fear can be passed on in the genes. A fear can go from one generation to another, especially in the case of people who have lived through, or their grandparents or family origins have lived through things like wars, genocide, especially persecution. That is a big one for IBS-D, so something you can think of. So there can be patterns of IBS-D in a family. So if you're having a hard time with diarrhea, which you probably are if you're watching this video, the first thing I would get you to ask yourself is there something I want to escape from? Is there something that deep down I want to run from? This is something that could be setting off your nervous system. So it's really worth taking the time to consider this as a trigger. You may not have the answer today, but something might crop up now that you're thinking of this. You may find that something comes to you in the next few days or in the next few weeks, something that shows you the pattern in your IBS-D, because there is a pattern. It's a survival pattern. It's a coping mechanism. It can be used to get you out of a situation, or it can be fear causing this reaction as a nervous reaction. So consider this as well as your traditional IBS treatment and see what it can do for you. I'd be interested in hearing any of your feedback. If you want to look into this more deeply, so I am an IBS recovery coach. Look in the comments if you want to work with me, and the details are there. That's all for today. Bye for now.